Okay. Hi. Today we're going to talk about recall tests. Let's go for it. So what are recall tests? Recall tests, well, as the name implies, they're tests that are designed to measure our ability to recall information. Usually they're from a given stimuli, so this is sometimes a list of words or a list of numbers. Sometimes it's free recall, so they will ask you to recall specific information. They will ask you to call information about something that they haven't given you, perhaps memories from the past or from your childhood. Yeah. So what types of questions can we ask using recall tests? There are three measures that we can look at when we're talking about recall tests. We can talk about quantity, quality, and accuracy. Quantity, if I give somebody a list of words and I'm looking to measure quantity, this might be how many words can they remember. If I give them a list of 20, if they are able to remember 13, that's a really good measure. Quality, this is something that is less of an issue when you've been given a list of words as a stimulus. Typically, quality will look at sort of the participant's response to a question, probing memories about specific things. So it might be looking at the level of detail, it might be looking at sort of the vividness or how well they recall the memory. And accuracy, this goes along the line of quantity, that if I've given you a list of information and you're able to recall numbers but maybe they're incorrect, or if I've given you a picture and I ask you to remember specific details but these details are incorrect, that's something that we can measure with accuracy. So questions we can ask using these are what factors impact our ability to recall information. This is sort of what all of these things are getting at. So we might be looking for things like interference. We might be looking for things that either make us better able to recall numbers or information, or worse able to make us recall information. Okay, slide. So what can we learn from asking these questions and using recall tests? Recall tests can give us a lot of really good insights, but one thing that they really can't do is they can't give us specific neurobiological reasons for why these things occur. As a common metaphor is that the brain is a black box. We can see what goes in one side and what goes out the other, but we can't actually see what's going on the inside. This is changing as we sort of have more advanced neuroimaging techniques, but it's still really difficult, very expensive, very time-consuming to do those techniques. So we can see the results with recall tests. We can see the results and not the process. And so this is definitely very helpful for making claims about how things impact our ability to recall information, but not so much about sort of more causal relationships and very specific biological processes that affect how we recall information. Yeah. So just, a little bit of an overview, some strengths and weaknesses, easy confirmation of results, inexpensive, it's easy to recruit participants because all of these things, you can do recall tests depending on how in-depth and how complicated they are. They can be done in a couple of hours with participants from any variety of non-psychology disciplines, as this is especially true at universities. A lot of data is collected with an ordinal scale, which means that it's very easy to collect and do data analysis with. Some weaknesses, it's really hard to make claims about why these things occur without sort of further research using neuroimaging techniques. And it can struggle to look at accuracy of long-term memories, especially with how these memories are usually about things that occurred before the experiment started. So I'm going to talk about two studies here. So a major discovery that was made using recall tests, I would call, has been termed flashbulb memory, proposed by Brown and Kulik in 1977. Flashbulb memory is the idea that memories that are tied to really strong emotions are more vivid and more accurate, but that's not really the case. And so Brown and Kulik, what they did is they asked 100 participants to sort of describe their memories of where they were and what they were doing after major life events. So they asked specifically about the assassination of JFK and the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., or about the death of a parent. And all of these things, the participants were able to very vividly and very clearly describe the memories of where they were, what they were doing, and where they were when these events occurred. So this led Brown and Kulik to propose flashbulb memory as the idea that these memories that are tied with these strong emotions are very accurate, very vivid, and you have a very strong sense of how accurate they are. However, they really had no gauge of how accurate these memories were. So Neisser and Harsh in 1992 decided they wanted to look at how accurate these memories are. So they waited for another big, major emotional life event for the world, which was the Challenger explosion. And so what they did is the day after the Challenger explosion, they asked a bunch of participants where they were and what they were doing when they knew that it exploded. And they asked them the exact same questions 2.5 years later. And so what they discovered is that their perceptions of how accurate the memories were did not change. They still thought that the memories were incredibly accurate, but in actuality, they were not accurate anymore. They had changed a lot. So this sort of has shifted how we understand the way emotions impact memories, because we now know that emotions no longer create incredibly accurate pictures of memories. It just creates incredibly vivid pictures of memories. And our memories and our emotions in the present affect how we reconstruct our memories of emotional events in the past. Yeah, so that's how we have used used recall tests to, that's the end, used recall tests to look at how emotions impact our memory. Yeah, thank you.